The Spin-Off Podcast Network.
This is Kiwi is back for a brand new season with more inspiring kōrero from special guests including rugby player, father and role model TJ Perenara.
My family bring me joy. Rugby brings me joy too, but it's not the same joy as my family brings me.
And global dancer and choreographer Kirsten Dodgen.
For some reason, people think I'm very intimidating.
Listen to the new season of This is Kiwi, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in collaboration with KiwiBank. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.
Kia ora, I'm Duncan Grieve, founder of The Spin-Off. You can help us keep all of The Spin-Off's award-winning journalism free for everybody by becoming a member today at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
I do the weirdest noises in here. Like, I feel so bad for Isaiah next door. Like, he has to hear my rambles.
Chew, chew. Just
like,
weird body noise.
boom, boom, boom.
Just some scatting?
Yeah. Like, I don't, like, testing 1, 2, that's not my vibe, but going like, skip it about, doo, da, boo, bee, ba, doo.
Kia ora e te whānau, welcome to The Real Pod. It is the completely checked out of work Real Pod, literally checked out from Alex and Duncan. Alex is, by the time you're listening to this, she's in the city, the Garden City. She's in Christchurch, and Duncan's in Perth, presumably just making more chain purchases, just adding to his collection. But I'm here, Jane Yee, and I'm not doing a monopod. Sorry, so disappointing, I know. I'm actually joined by two very special guests, all the way from the producer's chair, Aihe Butler and Samuel Robinson. Welcome to The Real Pod.
Oh, kia ora,
Kia ora,
Jane.
cornies. Kia ora, Jane.
Well, there's a real lackluster kind of...
Woo!
Did I force you to do this?
No, I'm just already checked out for Christmas.
We are checked out. So basically I was like, guys, we don't have Alex and Duncan. We need to do a podcast. You're in. And we were like, what should we do it on? What should we talk about? And it was just sort of tumbleweeds. And then it was time to record. And we're like, well, let's just get to know our producers because you guys are the guys who are suffering week in, week out, sitting behind that desk as we talk absolute bloody nonsense. And I just think now's your time to speak your truth.
You say suffering. In a lot of ways, I feel like we are, when you're recording the pod, we are the cornies personified in the room. You know, we're the first port of call for your guys' jokes. Alex Casey always looking over to see if something she said
Looking
is
for
landed.
validation.
Looking for validation.
Or, like, whether she's going to get cancelled immediately.
Yeah, yeah. I want to know what when you first joined the Spin-Off Te Aihe, which was in
June 2021.
And you sat behind the desk for The Real Pod.
Mm-hmm. It was the first podcast I'd recorded.
And you hadn't listened to it? Or you'd done some homework and
No,
listened to it?
I'd listened to it. I'd done a little bit
But not
of homework.
voluntarily. You'd done it for the job sort of thing, right? You weren't a Real Pod listener prior.
No, well, I've never been a reality TV watcher, so despite already being a fan of the three of you as human beings, I never would have listened. I hadn't listened to the podcast.
Okay.
Aside from maybe like 3
There it is.
episodes to get the lay of the land. Didn't understand anything. Didn't understand any of the in-jokes. But the first pod we recorded, still didn't understand the references, didn't understand the in-jokes. But the two of you reviewed the peanut butter jelly Whitakers.
Who was it? Was it me?
It was just you and Alex Casey.
Okay.
It was before
Weird that
Where's
Duncan wasn't there. Yeah, right. I
But
mean,
it
there's
was-
always been a Where's Duncan. We just didn't have
Yeah.
Catch Cry at the time.
But I had some of the chocolate, and I just knew it was a beautiful thing just waiting to happen.
Your new favourite podcast.
Yeah, 100%.
What did you think, Samuel? I want to know your Real Pod experience because I feel like you didn't even listen to a single episode. before you
Not
started
at
here.
all.
Okay.
Like, so coming to the Spin-Off, I was a really big fan of Gone by Lunchtime. Like, real big fan of Gone by Lunchtime.
Okay, they're fine.
Okay, yeah. Like, we just had them in and they made me record for an hour with a lot of edits. So, you know, Real Pod is currently my favourite. But I was a real big fan of Gone by Lunchtime. And, like, I'm a big believer of just like throwing myself into situations and seeing
really?
whether I can sink or swim. So I really didn't do a lot of research before coming here. And I mean, to be fair, before here, I was in Christchurch. So I think, do you think me and Alex Casey are an equal swap? I don't think so. I think Christchurch got better off, like losing me and gaining Alex.
You don't think it's a net?
I hate to say it, but the loss is still extremely raw for me. So at this point, I have to agree with
Rest
you.
in peace, Alex Casey.
She's just left. She's taken the cat. She's gone, and she's still going to be potting. Don't you worry. It's going to be like when I was in LA. Don't know if you know about this, Samuel, but I did spend
You went
some
to LA?
I did. I lived there
You
for a little
lived
bit.
in
Yeah.
LA? Whoa.
And when I was there, we continued the pod remotely, and there were some fun lags. It was a time, but you know, it was we did it, and we will do it again.
I, for
Christchurch
one,
is not that far
am
away.
Absolutely, I cannot wait to see the many ways that Alex Casey can real pod remote recording.
She will absolutely real pod remote recording.
Yeah. And I was also wondering, just thinking about her moving and just generally being sad she was gone. What would you do if she arrived in Christchurch, met some new people, made some really good friends,
No.
and then
No,
just sort of started podding on the side
what?
about something else?
Well, I would say it's a conflict of interest.
And you gave her the mic to take, so it would be
Yeah.
your fault.
I'd be complicit in this betrayal.
How would RealPod handle like a scandalous, how do you call it, math style, like on the side?
We'd go Cyclone Sorel on it for sure. I'd be ringing her up and like, you ain't king ding-a-ling. It would be all over. I think the
Do you
thing
get
is,
that reference? I don't get that reference.
I actually saw that season of Married at First Sight, so
Okay.
Sol's team, I'm the favourite.
That's okay.
he's still got work to do. It's fine. There's plenty of episodes for you to go back and listen to. Hundreds of them,
true.
in fact.
254 episodes of The Real Pod.
That's just the ones that are online. There are some that are lost in the ether. Like it jumps from 2016 to 2018.
Oh, shit.
I think there was a point where just a bunch. You know,
Go to the back catalogues over summer.
Look, this is I'm always saying this. Hit up the back catalogues. But anyway, to answer your question, in all honesty, and this is going to get a bit emo, but we have discussed. I mean, when there was a point where Alex did leave us when she went to work for Warner Brothers and couldn't talk about reality TV, and we're like, well, that's kind of what our podcast is about. It makes it difficult. And we tried to think of a workaround, but at the end of the day, it just wasn't tenable. And at that point, we were like, we can't do the Real Pod if it's not us three. Like, that's that. So we shelved it. We stopped doing it, thinking that's it for good because Alex is going to love her time at Warner. And I don't think she didn't love it, but the pull of the Spinny and the pull of the Real Pod, it's very strong.
It just wouldn't be the Real Pod without the trifecta. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I totally get the magic now. You know, like being in the room, the Channing Tatum news.
That was your gold.
Yeah, no,
That
was
wouldn't
me.
have-
Oh, wait, was it? Oh my gosh.
That wouldn't have happened on any other podcast. You know?
No, it wouldn't have.
It was just being in the aura of the Real Pod that brought that absolute gaff out
Yeah.
of you.
Yeah, it's the one that I get to open my mouth the most on, which is what I appreciate.
So we if she decided that another pod was for her, that would be the end of the Real Pod, I assume. So don't do it, Alex. I know you're listening. But this isn't supposed to be talking about us. It's supposed to be talking about you guys. Isn't
I
it?
think I was halfway through like a thing about how I came from Christchurch, and then I was like, let's talk about Alex Casey. Let's reminisce.
No,
you know?
let's talk about you guys. So Samuel, you're here, as
I
you
am
say, from
here.
Christchurch, but originally from
From
Wellington.
Pornicki, from Wellington.
Both of you from Wellington.
Yeah, we are. We kind of grew up in like the same sort of area as well. Like,
Yeah, went to different schools, but like the two most liberal, artsy, chilled out, progressive schools you could possibly go to.
for those Wellington heads, Aihe went to Onslow College, and I went to Wellington High School, which I think,
Explains a lot.
explains a lot about why we ended up here. And I don't think anyone that I went to high school with saw on Facebook started working at the Spin-Off and was shocked about it.
And what brought you here?
So I've always had a fascination with media. I have an old school a diploma from Whitireia in radio broadcasting, but then I went to broadcasting school to study film and television, and I wanted to kind of combine a bit of everything, and you guys would have me was the main draw.
We really needed someone for cheap, and that's how you ended up here. It was a beautiful marriage. We're really happy having you here. Long may it continue. Maybe not the for cheap, but we can work on that, I'm sure.
Yeah, that's right.
But how many and who did you send out emails to? How wide did you cast that net?
You know what? I mean, I found you guys pretty early. So as a part of my degree, I had to find an internship for 6 months to complete.
Hang on, you found us.
I found you guys.
I know. No, you emailed us. But when you say you found us, you were aware of the spin-off.
Yes, no, definitely. I've been reading the spin-off since I was in high school.
Okay.
A little bit. Like, I've always been a political head. I've always been a media head, just in general. So this is like, it's kind of weird getting your dream job like immediately out of uni and being like, oh no, where to from here? And then you're like, oh God, I guess I have to be like more ambitious in the future. And
I did the same thing, Samuel. I went straight into radio and television, had a glorious few years doing that, and now I'm
look
here.
at you on top of the world of podcasting, finger on the pulse of New Zealand audio.
Slid right back down. Anyway,
But
Arguably reached new heights, I would say.
thank you. Appreciate that.
so true, pioneer. But I did email a few other places. I think I got pretty close with one other internship that I actually had to turn down to come here. I got an offer and I had to turn them down. And by Murphy's Law, I keep seeing the guy that I rejected at a bunch of different events in Auckland. So that's been fun. But me and him are lovely. Shout out.
Also, I know that you emailed Hexwork because they forwarded it on to us.
I did email Hexwork.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, all due respect to Hexwork, lovely, amazing people, extremely good at what they do.
Go watch Eli and Chris's Porn Revolution.
And all the other things over summer, but not at the expense of the podcast, of course.
Yeah, not while you're listening to all the back catalogue of The Real Pod.
But I think this feels like your spiritual home. I think you're in the right place.
Oh, no, definitely. Like, I think everything works out in the end, and I, like, very much manifested being here. And, you know, if you truly just say out loud that you, like, believe in yourself and that you're confident in yourself and your work, like, you can get wherever you really want to be.
All right, Cassie Roma.
Literally.
I love this motivational
I love
talk.
it too, of course. Be your own shower witch. We're all about the motivation.
Mans
here.
is like 3 months away from being, in the hard graft of studying at broadcasting school, and now is here with a job and a house and a dog and a picket fence. All his dreams.
Not a husband.
Hang on, do you have a dog?
No, I don't have a dog.
He does
I have a pet bird.
What? Oh, yes, I've seen the photo. This is a flatmate's bird.
No, it's my bird.
It's your bird.
He's 12 years old. He's a rainbow lorikeet called Cobber. I got him for my 10th birthday. And then my dad, who's the one that likes birds, moved overseas. So I keep the bird.
Cobber is what Alex and I call each other.
Really?
Sorry to bring it back to Alex again.
All comes back to Alex. All comes back to the pod.
But yeah, hello, Cobber.
Lovely.
Te Aihe, I feel like I know how you ended up at the spin-off. We were looking for our first full-time employee in the podcast department, and you were looking for non-freelance work.
That's right. In the before times, before I was at the spin-off, I worked as a freelance sound designer, engineer, composer, just myriad different things that you have to do when you work in the creative arts and the performing arts. Did lots of stuff with the Modern Māori Quartet, worked with theatre companies like Auckland Theatre Company and Silo and lots of other cool folks, and grafted and ground to barely make a living, which, I mean, unfortunately is just the truth for so many people who work in the arts.
And then you came here and the same thing happened.
And I came here and at least I have cool people to hang out with in a nice office.
And sometimes we get free food in the chambers.
And sometimes we get free food. Sometimes some really cool businesses boring guests will bring in product samples.
I haven't reaped the rewards of a business as boring yet, apart from that gorgeous kohlrabi cabbage that
Yes.
I feel that was a reward, and it was certainly content for the Real Pod, if nothing else. What was your favourite piece of tat that's come through from Business is Boring?
Oh, there was
a pie?
No, there was a dude who came through from a company called New Fish, which is really progressive, sustainable fishing and power, gourmet food. And he brought a thing called a saucisson, which, as I understand, is just a really flash sausage. And it was made of power. It was made of like cured power with all this other super intense stuff in it. That was how we got the little butane torch out there. He gifted it to us so that we could like toast our own butane.
Sausages? Power sausages?
Yeah. Yeah, you like
Wow.
slice off a little bit of thing. It was delicious. All in all, great experience, 10 out of 10. Would have the sausage on again.
I love it. I love it.
Do you find it hard staying optimistic with all the financial news in the media? I'm Bernard Hickey, and on my podcast, When the Facts Change, I'm here to help you navigate the ever-changing landscape of economics in Aotearoa. So join the conversation every Friday on When the Facts Change, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with KiwiBet.
Are you curious about how business can be better? I'm Simon Pound, and I host Business is Boring, a podcast where I kōrero with some of the most interesting people in entrepreneurship, commerce, and making things happen. Tune in to Business is Boring every Tuesday, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network in partnership with Spark Business Lab.
Talofa lover, I'm Madeline Chapman, editor at The Spin-Off. If you have the means, consider supporting our high-quality journalism by becoming a Spin-Off member. Sign up now at thespinoff.co.nz/donate.
Guys, reality TV is what we do here on The Real Pod. What has been your favourite reality TV series of this year? It can be one we've covered. It doesn't have to be. It can be local. It can be international. We want to know about you and your tastes and preferences.
So I mainly keep it international. For me, I am gay, shocker. So I really like drag queens and anything to do with drag queens. I think the best reality show of this year that I've seen isn't even really like it's not a reality competition show. It's almost like a docu-series. It's called We're Here. It's produced by HBO. It's 3 drag queens from Drag Race, Bob the Drag Queen, Eureka, and Shangela, and they travel. It's kind of like Queer Eye for the Straight Guy, but they travel to like rural America and throw a drag show in the middle of these towns in America, and they get local queer townspeople to like get dressed up in drag for the first time, perform these drag shows. This season, they're in their 3rd season now. I mean, it's truly one of the best shows you will ever watch. You will be pissing your pants laughing and bawling crying by the end of it. And this 3rd season, with the kind of political climate that's happening in the US at the moment, specifically towards drag queens and trans people, they've had a lot of pushback and they've had a lot of protests and a lot of threats of violence against them. And so it's been really interesting watching the show evolve into kind of having to tackle these topics because they're being faced with it.
So are they specifically going out into like Bible Belts?
Yeah, like real, like rural, like, but even like places you really wouldn't expect. Like rural California is one of the most homophobic places they've ever been to, and it's been incredible. But that is your antidote if RuPaul's Drag Race is really wearing you down, like it has been me. With the quality drop that kind of happens. It started as a parody of America's Next Top Model, and it's turned into a parody of America's Next Top Model with all the international seasons and everyone just kind of giving up slowly.
Oh.
Drag Race. Season 15's right around the corner. Season 15 looks good.
You've done a really good sale.
Yeah, no, like, I mean, like watch it. Like, if you haven't started Drag Race,
And now's
you
your
might
time.
as well
Exactly.
watch it. Like, it's going to consume the whole culture eventually, so you might as well get on board now before they start putting the children in wigs, as is the grooming mantra.
That's how it goes, right? It goes from story time in the libraries to wearing wigs.
So every child is now transgender by birth.
I never got super into RuPaul's Drag Race, but I'd be super keen to watch We're Here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Sounds
It
really
is
great
good.
rec.
I would recommend it. Other than that, I usually just go back and rewatch old Celebrity Big Brother UK seasons, because Celebrity Big Brother UK is the best reality TV show that has ever existed, I think. Like, it has the unhinged nature of the British. It's cruel sometimes. Like, it really borders on that line. I remember there's one specific challenge I love. I think it's in the season with Tiffany Pollard and Gemma Collins, which is one of the best seasons of television.
I don't know
ever
who
watched.
those people are.
Neither, but I nodded in.
Yeah.
You don't know
Gave them
Tiffany
affirmation.
Pollard? Bye, Pumpkin.
No.
Flavor of Love. She was like New York.
Okay, I mean, that's
I
like...
love New York.
Right. It's
Yeah.
quite a long time ago.
Yeah?
Yeah.
No. She came back for Celebrity Big Brother like in like 2015?
No, but I mean, even that feels like literal eons
7
ago.
years ago. Jesus.
But Flavour of Love was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah, but like she's an icon. She transcends generations, I think. But they put like a phone in the middle of the room and they had everyone standing around, and then like their loved ones would call them and be like, I hope you're okay, please pick up the phone. And if they did pick up the phone, the house would like lose food for a week.
Oh my God.
And you could hear like, and people are breaking down crying. Like people are like, their kids are calling them like, Mom, I miss you. Like, come on.
I don't know. I want food. I would want food.
Yeah,
I feel
screw
like
the kids.
I feel like I could resist the urge to pick up the phone. It's one thing to say that, though, isn't it? It's another thing to do it. Aihe, what was your favourite reality series of this year?
I want to say Celebrity Treasure Island
course you
because I
did.
did really, really enjoy it. So stoked that Jesse won. I thought, even though it was a bit of a anticlimax because he was so loaded with advantages the entire way, blah, blah, blah. But what I genuinely enjoyed the most was watching the entirety of a TV program called The Circle.
Yes.
Specifically season 3, which was...
Is that the one with the Spice Girls on it?
It is the one with the Spice Girls on it.
It's
And
real-
therefore
I
is
haven't
the
seen that
best
one yet.
one.
It was real interesting because I watched The Circle the first season and have not watched any subsequent seasons.
Same.
And I kind of made a conscious decision about that because even while I was watching it, right up until the very last episode, and still now, to be fair, I didn't understand the premise of the show at all. And the contestants certainly didn't understand the premise of the show. And so there was this complete lack, it was like actual proper newbies coming in, no idea what they're doing or what the purpose is. And so it made it very, very real. And then off the back of that, I thought it's going to be impossible to replicate that because anyone who goes on it now
It
and
was
has
so
seen the first
authentic.
season.
I suppose so, but in a way, it was probably a much cleaner and clearer experience as a viewer coming into it fresh, watching the third season.
Sure.
All of the contestants had watched the prior seasons. They all knew the conventions. They knew how to game it. They knew if they were playing catfish. So the premise of the show, I'm surely preaching to the choir and don't need to explain
I
this to
don't
the
think
cornies,
there's so much TV. Not everyone's watched everything. So please, Aihe, go
it's
ahead.
basically a popularity contest where the contestants, they run the entire thing from behind a social media account. So they never actually see each other face to face. They're all in these little flats in a building of flats. And the circle is, I guess, the social media platform that they've contrived to run the show around. And every so often they have to rank each other based on popularity, on preferences. Sometimes they do it strategically. And essentially whoever comes at the bottom of that regular series of rankings will get kicked off. They'll get kicked off the show. And the idea is that whoever makes it through to the end, whoever gets voted the most popular at the end, wins the whole competition, wins the prize money. But they throw a twist and a spanner in the works where some people can go on and choose to not be themselves. So they'll run a catfish account and try and pretend to be somebody who is lovable or charismatic if they don't consider themselves to be that, I guess. And the great example from season 3 is I think he's like a 24-year-old dude who goes in playing his mum. Playing his mum Carol, and he does like a killer job for a lot of it. But then, well, I don't know, spoilers, but
That's really interesting because what he's done, instead of going like, I'm going to go in and pretend to be a hot chick or whatever, I'm not saying that Mum Carol isn't a hot chick, it's entirely possible, but picking someone so that you can
100%.
really realistically replicate their behaviour, what they do in a certain situation, how they would act, and someone who is lovable, that's genius.
Well, that's the thing about lying. You have to it has to be like 80% the truth.
It's got to be a little bit of truth in every lie, doesn't it? Yeah.
I think that talks to like the circle and the popularity of it, and like the format talks to kind of that thing that Alex Casey, RIP, has been talking about quite a bit, where we're moving away from like the love and the hot people and the bodies, and we're moving more towards just like regular people having fun. And when you have that kind of mask of social media, like you could be anyone, and a mum could win. Or was it in the first season where it was like this real like juiced up bro and his mum was playing him? They were like in the apartment together.
I don't think that was the first season. I know there was a dude. The guy who won was like he was like straight out of Jersey Shore kind of guy, and he was
I think that's what I'm thinking of.
When he first arrived, I'm like, oh, God, this guy's insufferable. And by the end, I was like, he is the most amazing human.
And that's the power of reality television, breaking down stereotypes.
That's right. And I think that's just on CTI, which obviously my show of the year. I think the fact that Jessie won and it was predictable and it was a little anticlimactic in the final doesn't detract from the season at all, because it's not become about who wins for me. It's like every episode right from the word go is about kind of these celebrities in a weird, strange environment and how they interact, and it's taking them and making them real people. So you talk about, Samuel, about, Alex's reference of not so many love shows and that kind of thing, not so much glitz and glam, but having real people on. But then even when you do get the glitzy and glamorous people, making them real people, making them relatable, and then finding out that, some of them are maybe disappointing and some of them are worth a lot more of your time than you would have considered otherwise.
Solid gold human beings, Siobhan.
Yeah. So it's just, I don't know. I think that's why I love that show so much, is all the silliness and the laughs, and the charity element's obviously really nice, but it is just kind of humanising people who were human to begin with, for the most part. But yeah, just making them, I don't know, kind of like more accessible.
And I think as audiences get smarter, it's like we don't watch reality TV to see who wins. We understand now that it's not a competition, it's a story. And you're watching storylines play out, and it's like when you watch fight videos on Twitter and you have to pick someone to win before you watch the video,
I haven't done that, but yeah.
I thought we weren't on Twitter anymore. I thought we were getting off the burning ship.
Oh yeah.
I'm astutely observing from afar in our Slack channel. I only see the bits of news about Twitter that are relevant that other people from work post in.
No, I'm still on Twitter, sorry.
I did actually tweet yesterday for the first time in a really, really long time. And I'll tell you what that tweet was. Actually, it was Sunday. Anyway, regardless, it was that the only thing I love about going to the supermarket during Christmas time is that people assume all the junk food in my trolley, of which there is a lot, is for a party, some sort of celebration. And it's not.
You don't get the usual judgment.
I don't get the judgment. I don't feel judged. I feel like everyone's got just stacks of Doritos and soda and lollies.
My
and things.
favourite holiday tradition is to go to the supermarket, buy a whole pavlova, a punnet of strawberries and some cream, and just make myself a pavlova and eat a whole pavlova by myself. You can shockingly eat a whole pavlova in one sitting.
It's quite light, eh? It doesn't.
It's mostly air. It's empty calories.
And then when you
basically.
put cream in, if you don't put any icing sugar or anything, the cream, it really balances out the sugar.
No, I put icing sugar on it.
Okay.
Do you have Christmas traditional food that you make every single year?
No, what happens, our Christmas tradition is for Mum to go, I can't do it all on my own. and then us to go, well, Mum, tell us what you want us to bring. And she'll go, well, I'll do the lamb and I may as well do a turkey. And, well, I suppose I've got the oven on anyway, so I'll do the potatoes. And then someone will say, well, I'll bring a salad. She goes, oh, we don't want a salad. No, we've got to have traditional vegetables. And Uncle Roy's going to bring round some stuff from his market garden. So I may as well do those as well. And and inevitably she does the whole fucking lot and stomps around, is the last one to sit at the table. Her hair's all askew. She's bright red. She's been telling us to open all the doors and turn on the fans because she's been in the kitchen and she's absolutely roasting.
And it's for what?
For what? Well, it's become our Christmas tradition. It wouldn't be Christmas without Mum having a wee meltdown about having to do everything when she's the one who insisted on doing everything. So that's
There are just well-worn tyre tracks that lead in that direction.
Yeah.
And to do anything otherwise would not feel like Christmas.
Yeah.
It's kind of turned into my sister, who's the oldest sibling, who's now everything has to be prepared months in advance and we have to have the menu and da-da-da-da-da. And my mum's just like, yeah, go ahead. Figure it out.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's her numb. I mean, it's a funny thing, Christmas, I think. Just that family dynamics around the Christmas meal is just, this can be so different. And when you get partnered up and you see what their family dynamics are, when I was married, I would always, and we had the big extended family thing on Joel's side, I was always the one in the Facebook group chat to bring stuff. So it was one of the aunties would message all the women in the family saying, this is what your family has to bring for you. And I'm like, why am I in this chat? Like, Joel is capable
Yeah.
of getting a punnet of strawberries and some ice cream and bringing that along, you know? But it's because I'm a lady.
Yeah, hectically gendered. I was trying to think about whether or not that happens in my family, and it doesn't, but I can see why it would, because some of the tane in my family are.
What do you have to bring to
useless.
Christmas dinner?
Just myself, usually. Just have
Your
to turn
present
up.
is a present.
Do you have sisters?
I do.
What do they have to bring?
Well, two of them are in Australia, so they do Christmas over there themselves.
If they were here, what do you imagine they'd be told to bring?
If they were here, my older sister, who is basically like she's the next matriarch up and coming in the whānau, would have everything on lockdown.
Right.
Yeah. And she would tell me exactly what I needed
All
to
right,
bring,
right.
and she would take a lot of pride and purpose in fulfilling that role. But I do hear how the whole Facebook Messenger full of wahine is kind of cooked. And
My family has like 8 different group chats with different combinations of people in it, just so we can like talk shit about the right people to the right people.
That's so dangerous. We have the same thing, and some of them, ours are on WhatsApp, and some of them have got the some of the slightly older, like the teenage grandkids in there, and sometimes people forget that they're there, and things that get said that shouldn't get said. But also, to be fair, my family say things all the time that shouldn't be said in front of anyone. So, you know. What about your Christmas traditions, aside from the self-indulgent pavlova situation?
As the poorest sibling, I am usually tasked with bringing the soft drink, and even then at times it's been a challenge financially for me. Shout out inflation. But I have a job this year, so it's like the first year. You know how everyone has that first year where you're like earning money and you can like buy presents for everyone? Yeah. So I feel good about that. I have a tradition with my eldest niece, who's called Willow. Shout out Willow. She's 3 years old, and ever since she was born, I've been buying her Salvanian families for every like birthday or Christmas. Yep. Because I never got Salvanian families growing up.
I'm the same with Salvanian families. I did exactly the same thing with my niece, and then I tried to force them upon my child. And at the moment, I just have a whole lot of naked. I'll just say naked beavers. I have a whole lot of like naked little squirrels and hedgehogs and beavers, just like lolling about in amongst all the other toys.
No, luckily I organised it with my sister very well, so it's her like only dollhouse that she plays with. And apparently every time she gets out the house that I bought her, the dad Salvanian goes immediately on the toilet.
Right.
So I don't know what that says about my sister's family dynamic.
I'm just Googling them. I've never seen these things.
You've never seen a Salvanian family?
In the States, they're called calico critters. Aww. But it's the same thing.
Oh, they're very cute.
Yeah, they're very cute.
One of my best friends growing up, who was a bit richer than my family was growing up, had heaps of Salvanians, and I used to just go over there and like love
We always had those friends, Yeah, no, we weren't a Salvanians family either, but I really wanted to be.
There's a really good TikTok account called Salvanians Drama that it's just this like adult woman who like plays out these like scenarios with her Salvanian family. I'll show you guys after. It's really funny.
Can't wait.
This house is fucking dope though. That's
they're gorgeous. It's ornate and swallowable.
This is speaking to your kind of like your gaming little figurine type.
I mean, I love miniature scale shit, but usually it's all super nerdy, you know, like fantasy and war stuff.
Warhammer.
Well, this is fantasy, but it's just fantasy in the woodland, you know.
Very cute.
Yeah, you take the fantasy and then you give them like real world problems. It's like, why did your boyfriend kill my husband? You know?
This is just the stuff that my kids watch on YouTube anyway. You know, like that's there's a lot of, you know, like little figures of popular toys, whether it be Peppa Pig or Paw Patrol or whatever, and then these real world situations applied to them by other children.
With dubious copyright laws around them.
Or even worse, by actual adults doing it for children.
Yeah.
Anyway.
YouTube kids.
Wow, we went down a little
How did we
wormhole
get
there,
here?
rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got there.
Christmas
traditions.
traditions.
That's it.
But talking about bringing I hear literally nothing to the Christmas dinner. You're bringing your soft drink. There is a thing. There is an age thing, right? Like when we and this is something that again Joel and I discussed a lot about. Like with his family do a lot of events, and people are always tasked with bringing things. And when we were the young couple without children and just sort of starting out in the world, that was like we were always on either strawberries or ice cream. Something you could just pick up. You don't have to make.
On your way there.
On your way there. Sort of stuff. And then as you matured, then you were put onto things like a salad. And then you'd go on further into dessert, like
I think I could handle a
dessert,
potato salad.
Dessert status. But it was always really funny looking back like at the new generation coming through. So the grandkids who were, little at the time when we started out, but then were moving into 18, 19 and seeing them charged with bread rolls and stuff. It's just a kind of a lovely poetry about it that gives us lots and lots of laughs. And I have one sister who is so useless, and she's the second oldest, that even though she is well and truly of age, owns a house, she's a lawyer, she does strawberries. The only thing she can do is fruit.
I respect her for that. I think that is such a girl boss move to just be like, no.
Yeah, that is very...
Is it because she's making a conscious decision, or is it because she can't be trusted to come through with a pivotal turkey or ham?
Oh, no, she can't be trusted. She can't be trusted, but she's happy to not be trusted. So it's a bit of... There's elements of both. One year she pushed the boat out and... she was told to bring cheeses, and she got little cheese, like those little circle Babel ones, and she did a Kath and Kim and made baby cheeses, which went down real well with my eldest Christian sister on Christmas Day. So that was her shining moment.
His body is,
I mean,
is sustenance.
Cheese is yum.
Cheese is yum.
Cheese is real yum. Okay, so here's what's happening, guys. Obviously, you're listening to this episode now, just prior to Christmas. And then next week, instead of the Real Pod proper, there's going to be Super Pod.
Woo!
So that will pop up in your feed, and that's obviously little bits of Real Pod. Alex Casey in the studio posthumously. i.e., we've already recorded it before she went to Christchurch.
Her final performance.
And then... the week after that is going to be another one of these weird ones. So that's what you can look forward to. There will be Real Pod. There will be fresh Real Pod content of some sort happening over the festive season, which has never been done before. It's
Keep
always
an
been
eye out on
reissued.
your feeds in early January.
Yeah.
I got a couple of things that I wanted to pitch, just ideas that I want to hear from the Cornies. Yay or nay? Like, is there interest or is there not interest? First one was... live pod in the Discord, like a live pod,
like
like a live stream in the
Okay.
Discord. We record it, we release it as an episode, but for those who can make it, we throw it in a channel. You guys pod live, people have the live chat going.
This segment is called "Let's Give Ollie Chick More Work."
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, hang on. I just need to clarify. So is it going out live, or is it more like it's recorded, we put it up, and then people chat while they're all listening to it together?
It's a live record, so you guys are recording and it's being streamed to a live voice chat in the Discord.
I mean, I think you know what the problem is here.
It's as dangerous as you guys want to
Do
make
you trust the Cornies to screen record your takes, or...?
I trust that they would, yes. Absolutely, I trust they would.
There's implicit logistics that go into this, right?
Okay.
So there's like some groundwork.
Have we got a
that needs to be
kill
done.
button? I mean, this is what I'm worried about. A tape delay.
Imagine the experience for the Cornies.
We have done a live pod before. I think we set up, this was years ago. The technology was great. It was a Facebook Live, and we had like someone's
Feeney
phone
style.
on the other side of the room, probably not hearing anything. So, it is ground that has been broken before by the Real Pod.
Well,
what ground haven't you broken? It's like The Simpsons, right? You guys have been on so long.
Yeah.
What haven't you done in podcasting?
Managed to get our audience back. After Alex took her little hiatus off to be a reality TV producer extraordinaire, we had a dip in numbers.
To be fair, The Simpsons hasn't gained its audience back either.
That's true. I don't think we're as legendary as The Simpsons. That's nice. But we will gain them back. We will, because you guys listening will continue to share this podcast. Don't keep it to yourself.
Rate it, review it.
And you have to do that thing where, like, I just, when I was saying goodbye to Alex yesterday, I was like, look, you're going to get down there and it's going to be a few weeks, maybe even a month or two of feeling like out of place and weird and like you don't know anyone or anything, but dig in and you'll soon grow to love it. You just got to be patient. And that's the sell you have to give people when you're putting them on the Real Pod, okay? Because as I mentioned earlier, there's going to be a lot of stuff that when a new listener comes in, they're going to be like, I don't get any of this, I don't understand it, but they just have to dig in. And then when they get their first little reference, their first little callback to something that they were there for in the original occurrence, they'll be like,
hooked.
I'm in.
Their first flappy shoe. Their first shower witch.
Yeah.
Their first
Sorry so much.
Sorry so much. They're first one at a time.
One at a time. This is New Zealand.
Discord live pod. What do you reckon? I reckon yes.
I reckon it's going to be. I feel like there's going to be a yay on
I think they're going to fucking... Anyway, I can't remember any of the other things I was going to pitch because it's been so long since I brought up
Sorry.
that as a kōrapa, but...
Sorry.
But maybe that's enough.
I think,
maybe that's enough.
You know, we've got a whole other little podcast to record, so maybe it can just be Aihe's
true.
elevator pitches, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm here. I want the feedback.
Hey, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. It's been so lovely having Samuel and Aihe behind the mics.
Aww.
It's been such a treat. You guys are amazing. From me to you two, thank you for all your mahi on the pods this year. Just making a very public thank you. This is my Oscars speech. Obviously, thank you to Duncan and Alex, wherever they may be listening to this. Thank you to the Cornies. I hope you all have a very special, amazing, festive season. Restful, relaxing, indulgent, pavlovas, the works. The works. And we'll be back Super Pod next week, and then beyond that, some more of this particular trio. And then God knows what's going to happen in the new year. Me and Alex and Duncan back on the mics doing
I don't
know
this.
what yet.
I do like this as a real pod B team, though.
Oh, it's a great B
Like
team.
the Ringans.
Oh, amazing.
The backup.
The backups. We'll come up with some snappy name.
Yeah. Okay, the Junior Squad. All right, thank you so much, everyone. Happy Christmas. Goodbye.
Kia ora, this is Toby Manhire, here to urge you to tune in to Gone by Lunchtime, a podcast with me, Annabelle Lee Mather and Ben Thomas, tackling the world of New Zealand politics, from policy to polling, from scandal to psychodrama. Listen to Gone by Lunchtime, brought to you by the Spin-Off Podcast Network, wherever good pods are sold.
Kia ora e te iwi, Te Aihe Butler here, podcast manager at The Spin-Off. If you enjoy listening to our podcasts, consider supporting our mahi by signing up to become a Spin-Off member at thespinoff.co.nz/donate. The Spin-Off Podcast Network.